Hello everyone, my name is Martin Linksfeld and I'm Master Chef in foggykitchen.com. Do you like cooking? I do. And today we will cook some stuff in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure with the most fantastic tool ever, Terraform. Are you ready? We are starting now the first lesson, and it will be a lesson with real coding experience. I'm planning to create something minimal. It will be a single web server, single virtual machine. It seems to be very small, but I still need to do something additional, right? All devices exist in some sort of ecosystem, in some environments. In each data center, you need to plug a power cord, connect the machine to one or more networks. Here, in the cloud, you still need to plan your machine connectivity. So there should be some network topology, some architecture designed before. We should clearly understand if the machine should be open to the public internet, accessible there with public IP, or maybe not. It should be behind the firewalls, accessible only through some VPN. All of that needs to be planned up front and coded within Terraform or provisioned manually. Okay, so let's jump into the first topology diagram of this lesson. Since that moment, every next class will start with the incremental change on this diagram.
Here is topology diagram for first lesson. Would you please try to make yourself familiar with this? I'll give you a few seconds. On the next slide, I'll try to decompose this picture into details.
Okay, let's decompose the picture to understand what we have here. In this lesson, we'll create the most straightforward OCI resources, starting with one compartment, one VCN, and one subnet in this VCN. Subnet will be regional, covering all availability domains. Inside this public subnet, we'll nest one VM for web server purposes. Public subnet means VM will have public IP associated, so VM will be exposed to the public internet via Internet Gateway and proper route table. After this deployment, one essential security list will be implemented, and this security list will permit access from the public internet to VM via protocol SSH port 22 and protocol HTTP and HTTPS on ports 80 and 443. Then we will utilize something which is called null resource and remote-exec capability of Terraform. We will install an HTTP server with a minimal web page, and this page will be exposed to us on this public IP. And what does it mean in essence? We will be able to reach the web server content with the message, "Welcome to foggykitchen.com. This is web server 1. Okay, here is my environment for code development. And inside this environment, I have a clone of my repository. I will go directly to lesson 1, single web server. First, I will focus my attention on provider.tf file. In this file, we will define two providers for OCI where we need to provide credentials, such as tenancy OCID, user OCID, fingerprint, private key path, and the region. Why we are using two providers? The second one, with the alias home region, will be used to access global resources in OCI. For example, compartment. As you remember, compartment is global, so it will be spread between all of the regions. And we can build a compartment only when we are in a home region, right? That's why here we have data source, and we are deriving the region name for a home region. How this data source works? I can see all data sources in datasources.tf file, right? Data sources in Terraform works like queries in a database, but we are not querying database, we are querying REST APIs in our cloud, right? And here we are making a query to OCI identity region subscription data source. We are providing our tenancy OCID, and we are filtering. So filter means the attribute is home region should be set to true. So with this query, we will build the proper provider to access home region. Okay, as I have mentioned, we need to build a compartment, right? So compartment can be found in compartment.tf file. As you can see, we are using home region for provider, and then we are building the compartment. Because it's a global resource, I'm adding here special provisioner local exec with the command to sleep 60 seconds. This timeout is necessary to be sure that compartment will be distributed in all of the regions, right? And we will be able to use this compartment no matter what region will be chosen for deployment. Okay, that is all in case of the compartment. Let's move to network topology and network resources. First of all, I need to build a VCN. VCN is nested in our new compartment, right? And we are building this VCN with predefined VCN CIDR. We are using variables, and variables are defined in a variable.tf file. So let me show this VCN CIDR. Here is a value of our VCN CIDR, right? And the other variables are defined here. Let me return back again to network.tf. After creating VCN, we need to create DHCP options, right? Resource. And it will be associated through the interpolation with our VCN. And what we are defining here, the most important thing is to define DNS, local DNS inside OCI for our VCN, right? Then we are defining internet gateway. Again, this internet gateway is associated with our VCN, right? Then we are defining internet, and then we are defining route table, right? Route table, and in a route rules, we have definition for internet, right? Public internet. That's why we have here 0.0.0/0, and in case of traffic going into internet, we are defining internet gateway as a gateway, right? Next, we have security lists. Security list is associated again with VCN, and we have here egress and egress rules. For egress, it's simple. We are giving information about public internet. For ingress, we are using dynamic block, and it means it will iterate in a loop over a variable called service ports, right? And it will build dynamically free entries for ingress security rules, right? What will be the values for this loop? Let's take a look into variables.tf again to see what we have in the service ports. And here is a service port, the service ports definition. So 80 for HTTP, 443 for HTTPS, and 22 for SSH. So this security list will build access through SSH and and HTTP and HTTPS protocols. And finally, we are building subnet, right? This subnet will be associated with VCN, with route table, and a DHCP options, and this security list we have created just before. We will also use subnet CIDR, defined by subnet CIDR variable. Again, let's take a look into variables. Here is a definition of our subnet CIDR. And that is all in terms of network infrastructure. We have all of the elements of the infrastructure, so now we can create a compute instance inside this infrastructure. And we are using shape. Here's yet another dynamic block for dynamics, for flexible shape. We are also using this web subnet, which has been created in a network.tf, and we are making some lookup for data source for images for our server. Again, we have data source. Let me check the data source here. Here is a query for our images. We are looking for images available in a compartment with this OSID. Instance OS and Linux version will be defined by variables in variables.tf. Right? So it will be Oracle Linux in a version 7.9, right? And and we are looking for this image inside our REST APIs. That means we will have server, and next step is to set up the content of the server, right? We need to do some sort of a configuration management. So for that purpose, we have remote.tf file. Inside this remote.tf file, we will define dependency, right? First, the web server should be ready. Then we can run remote-exec, right? And this remote-exec will run this bash script defined in a form of inline entries. And this script will prepare our machine for access via public IP. And that is all in case of our code. And now we will go directly to our Terraform server. I'm now on my Terraform server. Behind, you can find my console. So in this Terraform server, I have already created a clone of my repository, and I am currently in a lesson 1 single web server subdirectory. As you can see, I can have all of the files necessary to build my infrastructure. First, I will source this setup OCITF vars file just to set proper credentials for my tenancy, right? And now I can run Terraform init just to download all necessary providers, including OCI provider, TLS provider, and null resources. Those providers will be downloaded directly from Terraform repository, from HashiCorp registry. And now I can run Terraform plan to see what elements, what resources will be built for us. We have a plan to create 10 resources, which means we will have a compartment, brand new. Inside this compartment, we will have VCN, we'll have web subnet, we'll have the security list with free ingress security rules for SSH, for HTTPS, and one for HTTP, so AT. Then we will have also route table for internet gateway itself. We will have this machine, the web server, and we will have DHCP options, and yeah, that is mostly all. So now we have the plan. Let's run Terraform apply. The plan will be repeat it, so we will see the same output, but here we have the question to perform the actions, and I will type yes. First thing created mostly is a compartment with the sleep for 60 seconds to distribute information into all of the regions. So right now the provisioning is in the middle. So let me pause this recording for a second, and I will wait for final finals of the deployment. Okay, Terraform apply command is finished. Apply complete. Resources 10 added, no changed, no destroyed. Here we have output with a public IP address of our web server. Let us quickly verify if it's really there. Okay, welcome to foggykitchen.com. This is web server 1. Okay, so it looks like the Terraform was fully successful. Now, before I will run Terraform destroy, let me just go directly into our networking, then into virtual cloud network, VCN. As you can see, in a Terraform compartment, we have subcompartment, Foggy Kitchen compartment, this one created. And here we have a Foggy Kitchen VCN. Let me go directly there. We have just one subnet, which is public. We have also route tables. We have this route table defined by Terraform, where we are going directly via internet gateway for a destination public internet 0.0.0/0. Perfect. Now let's verify DHCP options. Okay, we have our DHCP options, and we are using internet and VCN resolver, the local one. Now we have also internet gateway for our route table, and we have security lists, right? A default security list, and this one created by us. Let me go directly there. And as you can see for ingress rule, we have open traffic from public internet to our 443 port, also for HTTP, so 80, and for SSH, so 22. Okay, looks like everything is in place. We have nothing else to check here. Now we can go directly to our machines, right? So compute instances, and after a sec, we will see web server with a flex shape and public IP, exactly this one, which I have tested a few seconds ago. And we are in first AD. Okay, looks like everything is in place. Let me then run Terraform destroy just to remove all of the components from our tenancy. After a while, we will see the plan. And what is the plan? To destroy 10 resources. So let me type yes, and within, I think, few minutes, everything will disappear. And I will pause it for a sec. Okay, looks like Terraform destroy operation has been finished. 10 resources destroyed. Let me check how it looks like from console perspective. As you can see, web server has been terminated. Let me go to networking, and there is nothing. Okay, no item found. So our operation is finished. So we have destroyed the infrastructure. Before closing this session and finishing this lesson, I would like to tell you about alternative way to deploy the course. So far, we have used Terraform CLI in our Terraform server, but let's imagine you don't want to use any compute instance or even your own computer, and you would like to use our tenancy, right? So let me go directly into lesson 1, single server subdirectory, If you scroll down, of course, you have a description how to install things with Terraform CLI, but alternatively, you can use Resource Manager and Deploy button. I will click on this Deploy to Oracle Cloud button. I will be immediately transferred to my tenancy. Right now, I'm already authenticated, so there is no question about user and password. I will click on checkbox to approve terms and conditions, and this zip file will be downloaded for me with the stack for our resource manager. I'll choose the compartment where I will deploy everything. I will click next, and here I can choose availability domain for our first server. I can also click on show advanced option, which means I can potentially customize my CIDRs, or I can choose, different shape, right? For example, I can choose arm shape, right? Okay, let's move forward. I will click next. I will disable run because I want to see the plan first. And I will click create, and the stack will be created for me, right? Now I can run plan job with this button, and within few seconds in my tenancy, plan will pop up. The same technology is used behind Terraform, right? So after a while, we should see the plan here. I'll pause for a sec. Okay, the plan job is finished. Everything is in green. What can I see here? I can see logs. And here is the same Terraform with resources to be added. Let me scroll down to see how many resources are planned for us. 10 resources. Perfect. And public IP of the web server will be as an output. So let me go to the stack details and let me run apply job, right? And now the job is in the middle. It has been accepted, and I need to wait a few minutes to see the output. I'll pause. Okay, apply job is finished. As you can see, here we have Terraform apply log, and we can scroll down to the very end. And also in output section, here we can copy the public IP address, and I will test it. And it's here again. Welcome to foggykitchen.com. This is Webserver 1. Okay. We can also see associated resources, and we can also move to that resource right from here. For example, I will jump into VCN, right? And here is the VCN with our public regional subnet. Looks like everything is in place, so now I can run Terraform destroy and our infrastructure will disappear. Okay, job is in the middle, accepted. I will pause again for a moment. Okay, looks like destroy job is finished in green, and 10 resources have been destroyed. Let us verify. Networking, no items found. Okay, so it's done. And this was the first lesson where I have started to play with Resource Manager. And for the rest of the course, I will use Resource Manager to deploy the code. Thank you.